He said on the Breakfast Club last week when he was interviewed, he said, well, yes, I mean, there are plenty of Jewish people in Hollywood who have high-level positions, high-level executive positions. It doesn't mean that they are the ones running everything, okay? So let's put a pin in that, that's number one. And then number two, he said, well, I mean, yes, Jewish people did partially found and help to start up Hollywood. But still, it doesn't mean that they have all of this control. Okay, so let me just pause this real quick. Yeah. Speak the damn truth. What you said was, a large percentage of those who have the highest level of positions happen to be Jewish. Yes, also those who help to create the very system that we're dealing with when it comes to Hollywood, formerly known as Hollywood land, based off of the Holly Reef, and it goes back to ancient Europe as it pertains to their worship of the sun and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. If you're looking at this, he said, yes, they happen to be Jewish too, the people who helped to start Hollywood. The reality is the overwhelming control as it pertains to what happens in Hollywood dominated and is dominated by, should I say, Jewish individuals for the most part, as he said. But people don't want to say it because it's deemed anti-Semitic. Let me make this very clear. 7-Elevens are ran by Indians for the most part. Yeah. Oh, right? Okay, in Mexico, what do you have the majority of? Mexicans. In Australia, what about that? Australia, Nigeria. Yeah. Right, okay. Let's stop the cap. Cut the cap, knock it off. It's just people are afraid to say it because they say you're anti-Semitic, meaning you hate Jewish people. No, we don't hate anybody. We're just stating an actual fact. That is a pit bull on that damn rug behind you. Yeah. That's just a fact. Of course. I'm not anti-pit bull, bro. Yeah. I promise you. I had 6 of them growing up in Compton. Yeah. But just to state a fact should not come with a label. That's insanity. So that's the power structure that just so happens to be. And then are there some Indian people at the top? Sure. Are there some other white folks at the top? Definitely. Are there a few black folks at the top? For sure. There are different demographics. But who has the, let's say, the dominant overwhelming when it comes to their demographic? That's what it happens to be. And Mr. Greenblatt admitted that. So that's what Kanye was talking about. That's why he got hit the way he did. Because if J.P. Morgan Chase, if J.P. Morgan, Jewish, Chase, wasn't so powerful. Explain to me, Brother Flacco, what would it take for a bank to dislike money? Why would they say we're going to freeze and have you remove over $100 million of your money out of our account when we live off the interest? That's how banks survive. Yeah. Why in the world would a bank, what would make a bank say, take your $100 million and get the hell up out of our bank? This is before the Hitler comments. Of course. This is before that. Of course. What is that? No, I mean, really, what is it? Because J.P. Morgan kept Jeffrey Epstein's account. That's true. They kept a lot of other people's accounts. I'm trying to figure this out. Yeah. It's not even. And then when it came to Amazon and all that kind of stuff, they didn't really go at Amazon. Now they're saying they're going at them, but they didn't go at Amazon because Andy Jassy, who was the CEO of Amazon, is Jewish as well. Yeah. And he told Jonathan Greenblatt and everybody, said, we're not putting me through. That's the fact. There are no groups that I know of, bro, of whole black people trying to come up with ways to attack Jewish people. It don't exist. Yeah. It's like when they call the Nation of Islam a hate group against Jewish people. Do you know that there has never been one incident of a member of the Nation of Islam physically harming any Jewish person anywhere ever? Message. We've been listed as a hate group for over 60 years. Yeah. How? But there are many Jewish people who have harmed people, not only the Nation of Islam, but black people, period, in the way that they take advantage of them when it comes to their housing, when it comes to their business and their contracts, when it comes to how they disproportionately remove them from job positions, et cetera, how they literally destroy their ability to have a livelihood, to take care of their family, to take food out of their mouth, et cetera. That has happened on that end. And then we can go all the way back to the transatlantic slave trade because they were involved in that. They sold us on the auction block. They were owning our ancestors, so they have to apologize for what they did to our people and a part of the Holocaust of black people, but black people were never a part of the Holocaust of Jewish people.
Oh, wait. So actually, like...
Don't edit that out.
Yeah, no. Okay, no, hell no. Listen, this is all staying in. But like, speak on that, though, because I have heard something about how they were involved in a transatlantic slavery, right? But I guess I just never did my research on it, right? So what was their role? Because like somebody say, nah, like it was like non-Jewish, right? Since it was like just like the British or right, but you know, but like speak on that. So like, yeah.
Let's make this clear. So a lot of you have to look at one thing in America. First off, over 90% of Jews in America identify as white. Yeah, okay. On the census. So we're gonna leave it at that. Because some Jews, well, I'm Jewish, I'm not white. Yeah. Okay, well, you identify as white for the most part on the census, right? So I'll just say that for that point. When it comes to their role, Were Africans involved in our enslavement? To a degree, sure, to a degree. Not the same way Europeans. Let's get that very clear, but to a degree, yes. European nations, for sure. Arabs, definitely. It happened. But when it comes to a primary role as it pertains to those who own some of the ships, those who sponsored and owned the shackles, those who helped when it came to the actual transporting, the scheduling, like all that kind of stuff, it primarily was Jewish people, especially when you're talking about one Cristobal Colon, also known as Cristoforo Colombo, who we know as Christopher Columbus. He was sponsored by, who was that? King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, 1492. Roughly in that same time, in the same year, 1492, over 300,000 Jewish people were kicked out of Spain at that time. But they helped to sponsor this excursion, this situation where Christopher Columbus went and tried to find the New World. He was funded by Jewish people. Now, people, they try to, move that around and say, no. The history is the actual fact. So let's not play around. If it happened, it happened. See, if we were a part of something like that, we'd have to apologize. We're not going to try to erase that part of history to make ourselves look like we're innocent. No, the reality is Jewish people were known to own slaves in Italy. They were known to own slaves in France. They were known to own slaves in Spain. They were known to own slaves in Maine. They were known to own slaves in Slovakia. They were known to own slaves in all these different areas, and they were kicked out of all these different countries all throughout Europe. White folks kicking out white folks because of them doing certain things like owning slaves when that part of that history was supposed to be ended. And they were told, you can't own no more slaves right now. We ended that, knock it off. And they were like, no, that's one of the ways we're making a lot of money here. And so that's one reason why they were kicked out of certain places like Spain, like Italy, like France, like Maine, etc. All the way from 1092, I believe. Let's just leave it at that point. But all the dates go down in a chronological order. So they've been kicked out of multiple European nations, brother, over 20 of them before we had our enslavement circumstance, long before. So I want to make that very clear. And if you want to get a reference on that, there is a 3-part book called The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, which is a compilation of historians, Jewish writers, Jewish rabbis. And all the references and footnotes are at the bottom so that you can go look at their books from the Encyclopedia Judaica, the Jewish Encyclopedia, all of this, where they admit their historians are saying, yes, the Jew was a primary slaveholder of African people all over the place. So it's their words. I recommend everybody go get that. All 3 parts, including number 3, which is a very critical one, talking about Leo Frank, who was a Jewish man who was lynched for raping a white girl. And then they lynched him, white folks lynched him, another white man named Leo Frank, and they said that was the primary anti-Semitic act that sparked the creation of the ADL. So it was a white man who is an actual convicted known rapist. He tried to blame it on a black man back then in 1915 when they hung him, right? Court case 1913, they hung him in 1915. They tried to blame it on a black man and say, no, he did it. But all of the evidence pointed to the fact that, no, you did it. You raped the girl. She was, I believe, 13 or 14 years old. She worked at your pencil factory, and you tried to say it was that man. Why? Because at that time, all you needed was the word of a white man over the word of a black man in order for a black man to be blamed. So he thought that was going to work in his favor. Wow. They arrested him, found him to be guilty.
Question for you. You just sitting here on this platform, I would just, how do you feel, sitting next to him, a white man on this platform who happens to be an atheist, and also, a lot of people saying that he's a culture vulture, and you're sitting here, like, how do you deal with that?
He's the main person saying it.
How do you deal with that?
Very simple. Number one, I have to look at your actions. Number one, he's white, obvious, happens. Welcome to America. Welcome to the world. It's 2022.
Mayonnaise.
Right. White. I mean, it happens. People are white and black, getting married, having children. It's a reality. What I look at is your motive, and I look at what you do with your relationship with my people. If you use that connection to damage the people, you got to be called out. Do I trust white people as a group? No, never will. Message. And there's nothing you can tell me that will convince me of that. But I don't need to throw that in your face when we're doing things that can go towards benefiting the human family.
But it wouldn't really be fair to say you trust any group, right? Like if I were to say I trust women, I trust white people, I trust black people, it's like...
Right, generalizations are not intelligent at all when you generalize, unless it's about good things, like every human being breathes oxygen, or we need air, okay? Those are positive generalizations. But no, and again, I have to make that very clear so that when I sit down with people, you know where I stand, I know where you stand. But for him to have this platform and for those of us to get on here to have these type of dialogues, I could go back to that old way of thinking. But then again, you have a black militant member of the Nation of Islam. Let's make this very clear, raw, sitting next to this white dude And we're going to agree on a lot of points. You happen to be an atheist. I happen to know that a lot of atheists are very logical. And it's very sad because a lot of people who are religious are fanatical and they're dogmatic and they're not logical. They don't know how to think. They go buy books, not in them. They push things that they've heard onto people. They don't know how to apply things in real life. For a lot of them, not the majority. I'm not just blanketing our people. And I'm saying this is in Islam, this is in Christianity, this is Judaism, this is in Taoism, this is in Buddhism, this is in all of the faiths. The Honorable Minister Farrakhan said that Satan has infected all religions. That's number one. So when you go into all of these religious philosophies, think you're better because you have a different label than I do. Number one, you just proved you don't know nothing about your own religious belief. That's number one. A lot of atheists simply don't believe that there is a higher power to a degree. They believe in science. Well, if you believe in science, then you're literally believing in the seen power that is powered by the unseen source. So you believe in God, whether you know it or not. You can call it mathematics. You can call it the universe. You can call it any one of those things. But you just don't want to give it that certain label. That's cool with me. I'm cool with that. Literally, I've had conversations with plenty of atheists, and we agree on a majority of topics. Why? Because the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said we should argue over religion after we're free. The majority of what's going on right now is because of people who confess or profess to believe in some kind of God, but they don't actually carry it out in their actions. They're too busy doing things that go against what they say they believe.
Because the weird thing about being an atheist is that you can agree with most serious religious people because like a Muslim disagrees with all of the other religions, right? I just add one more religion to the mix. You know, like I'm sure. What was the last thing you want to say about the Women's March topic?
The strategic manipulation of social media.
Message. My boy Adam really be putting a lot of negative stuff in the group chat. You know, we wondering why. Like, hold on, why is nothing never negative about you? We like this shit is getting a little weird. So we like let's get down to the bottom of it. Boom, boom. We search it down to the bottom of it.
Josh, sit on your mic, Josh. Sit on your mic, Josh.
And of course, this gives up. No matter of fact, not of course. I'm like they talking about mods, and I'm like, well, who's no jumper mods? And then he was like, "Oh, Josh."
And Jew, and I was like, "Bro, Josh is a Jew." Like, so what?
Yuri, and we like, oh, so this is what we have. This is
look at he's uncomfortable now.
This is the theory.
Where's your mic, Josh?
This is the theory.
He's right here.
This is
the
the theory. We like, hold on. There's nothing never negative about Adam and his girl. There's nothing negative about Yuri's girl. We like, hold on, that's cool, it's fine. But now that we see that they're mods, it's crazy because there's something negative about AD's girl, my girl. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, mama, this and that and the other, and niggas is laughing at us. And then they say, oh well, Josh is a mod. We like, oh, Yuri's a mod. We like, oh.
Go ahead, Josh. Shut up, T.
It's this that they fear. That's right. I don't have no army. That's right. I just know the truth. And I'm here to separate the good Jews from the satanic Jews. Yes, yes, yes! I never allowed those who follow me to become vile as those who speak evil of us. That's right. So I am dangerous.
Yes, sir. As a mod, my job is to find other mods, and I never fucking look at it.
So he's a master mod. So this nigga's giving the rules.
He was a mod.
You're giving the rules to the mods, yes or no?
This was an issue I had when we first opened the Reddit. We did not want to censor people, but at the same time, we wanted to make it something that people here were comfortable looking at, reading.
What's the rules of the mod? What's the rules?
The rules are
don't post Adam girl.
They're number one
don't
rule
post
that I
Adam girl.
No.
Yeah, just start with that.
Let her finish, you skinny bastard.
So the number one rule was no Adam Lena content.
Oh, see? There we go.
Nobody wants to see their porn content on the no jumper shit. That has to be separate.
What you mean? I don't want to see my fucking girl on a Reddit. Why we didn't get that rules for everybody else?
Dude, my wife's been posted on there as well.
I did not see that.
Riley's been posted on there a lot.
I did not see that.
She has been dragged. It feels like you were pretty selective with these searches.
Riley's got dragged? Riley's not getting dragged for shit. Like, what has Riley ever done?
No,
but like
on
their
the Reddit?
pictures and
What
shit
has
like
she
that.
ever done?
Nothing bad, but I'm saying on the Reddit, like you're trying to tell me that she's never mentioned. She's mentioned a lot, probably more than anybody.
I think the craziest shit is when they bring up y'all kids. I think that's crazy.
That's fucked up. And you don't tell the mods, don't fucking bring our kids
I
up.
don't, hey, that's why I don't look at it no
What type of
more.
bias shit? What type of bias shit is this?
We never tell them to.
This is fucking bias
That's
here,
part
huh?
of the rules. There's no harassment. We tell them to keep kids and shit out of it. We also try not to censor.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No bullshit, bro.
It's a really fucking delicate line. So,
But no Adam and Lena, huh?
We also have a shit ton of no Adam Lena sex shit. No. Nobody wants to see that on the...
What you mean nobody wants to see that? They obviously do want to see that. She's rich.
There's plenty of other places they can go for that. There's other subreddits.
Oh, so they want them to subscribe.
Well, no, I just don't want that.
Josh, he's trying the most stupid. Bro, Josh, you should have seen the
no
group.
point in explaining this shit.
A little fishy.
Yeah, it's definitely fishy.
The mastermind, huh?
Yeah. The mastermind.
Never deleted a post on the Reddit.
The mastermind. Look, guys, all five of you
never
guys.
deleted a
Wait,
post
is
on
it
the
true
Reddit.
Yuri is one in?
Yeah, Yuri has to be one.
Whoa! Well, that's why we banned on Adam today. We like, nigga, we don't look at the Reddit no more. Don't put in our group chat. We gonna fuck you up.
No, it's Josh's fault. He's a mod.
We went ham today. Like,
Yeah,
nigga,
we
why
did.
you always posting negative stuff about us? We gonna post everything negative about your ass.
That shit had me dead. Bro, seeing you two argue with him has to be the most entertaining shit ever. Because you guys don't give up and he doesn't either. So I'm like, oh. That's why I don't reply because I don't want to get caught in the crossfire.
He gave up today.
He gave up today.
He did.
He gave up
He
today.
gave up today. He gave up.
But do you give him that, like him noticing that you feel me, that sometimes he fucks up?
Nigga, ain't nobody perfect. The whole thing is that at the end of the day, it's like, nigga, I don't want to see negative stuff about my team or my homeboys. You know what I'm saying?
And I don't want nobody here that's saying negative shit about me.
No, but I'm saying, but if okay, the fans are gonna do what they want to do, the Reddit is gonna do what they want to do. If we not looking at it and you bringing it to our attention, it's like, oh, you getting a kick out of this shit. We gonna get a kick out of you then, nigga. We're gonna keep this shit going. We're gonna be an all Royal Rumble.
Once Mark Zuckerberg and the agents of the CIA and the FBI, Department of Defense, came together and they met. And they were looking at how they could use social media to their advantage because you're pretty much providing all the information for them. So it's this kind of cut like 90% of the work for the U.S. government when it comes to who they need to investigate, where they need to go. Hell, what do you eat? What kind of car do you drive? You told them everything. You literally volunteered. It's a psychological game, which is why one of the top employees inside of the Department of Defense, inside the U.S. government, are psychologists. Because they must study the minds of the people. Why did you put a question on social media that says, what's on your mind? And why did you answer it? Why do you keep answering that? So at a certain point, you can't blame them because you just fell into the game. So they know how to manipulate the minds of the people when you go up against them. But the people who witness your work long enough, and if your record is solid enough, then it won't necessarily affect too many of them. But you gotta be out here being sincere and really doing the work. That's the only thing I will say, because really that's where God intervenes. Like, no, the people, they seen your work. They know you've been out here for years doing this, boom, boom. So no amount of lies will penetrate the minds of those who sincerely know and they feel. They feel you. They seen you. They witnessed you in person doing this over and over again. So, but what they did with her was very strategic, very wicked, and the anti-Semitic title is a trick that is used for people who criticize the negative things that people do, calling themselves Jews. Just like people who call themselves Muslims do evil stuff, people who call themselves Christians do evil stuff. No, you're not a Jew, you're not a Muslim, you're not a Christian, you're a devil. Using that name, and you're really putting dirt on it. Judaism, Christianity, it's like, no, it already has dirt on it and blood in it, on all of them. But you are falsely representing it, making it seem as though you're doing good, but you're doing evil under that name. And that's for everybody in every religious group in every single area. So when they used that, it was effective because, yes, there is this inordinate amount of control. And it's people who are Arab, it's people who are Muslim, it's people who are Jewish, it's people, all the different religious groups and all that, who happen to own parts of media and banking in different religious groups. So